الله تعالى في محكم كتابه الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر صدق الله العلي العظيم. Please enlighten this majlis with 3 loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Laylatul Qadr. We are all aware to some extent of the greatness of this evening, of this night, and that this is the greatest night that we have throughout the year. We wait for this night every year for us to perform du'as, to perform a'mal, to be able to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to be able to set our goals for the year, so on and so forth, to reflect upon our actions throughout the year, and so on. It is a night of reflection, a night of spirituality, a night where we think of our own actions, we think where do we stand in this world, where do we stand when it comes to our goals, so on and so forth. When it comes to Laylat al-Qadr as well, one of the famous or the main source that we refer to usually to understand this Layla and get an idea or fathom a bit about the details of this night and what happens in it is to refer to Surat Al-Qadr. For the surah is named after this night. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in a very short surah, yet it has a lot of description of what happens in this night and how great this night is. In tonight's lecture, I want to focus on one specific verse in this surah. The verse that says, تَنَزَّلُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ وَالْرُوحُ فِيهَا بِإِذْنِ رَبِّهِمْ مِنْ كُلِّ أَمْرٍ. This verse, most of us here are familiar with. Tonight, I want to focus on this verse. Try to understand this verse and maybe be able to fathom slightly the greatness of this night through this verse alone. And understand who is the one this night really refers to, or this night is the person who this night is surrounding. Which person right now is the person who this night is the center of this night. Inshallah, we shall focus on this verse and try to understand it further after a salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Before delving into the verse, one thing I want to mention is the meaning of Qadr. For we have Surat Al-Qadr, the Layla of Qadr. What does Qadr mean? Our Mufassirin, when they mentioned the word Qadr, they said Qadr comes from the Arabic word Taqdir. And Taqdir is to measure things. So it is the night where the measurements, Allah's measurements happen. Usually we would translate it to the night of destiny, for example, or the night of decree. In other words, it's the night in which the measures are set. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would set the measures in this night, whether it be the measures in regards to our lives, it be the measures in regards to this universe and how it is run, the measurement of other human beings, maybe not only for Muslims, so on and so forth, which is Qadr. We are all familiar with the idea, Qada and Qadr. Qadr is the measurements. Qada are the set things, the destiny. Qadr is the measurements, the options that Allah set for us throughout our life. This night, Laylatul Qadr, comes from the word taqdir. It means that the measurements in this night are set. Allah would give us the options, would set our options in life through this night for you. So this is where the name Qadr comes from. Because this will set the context for understanding the verse, which is the central theme of our lecture today. As for the verse, before delving into what the Mufassirin say and what are the meanings of those terms, we want to firstly just understand linguistically the terms used in this verse. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would say, تَنَزَّلُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ. Tanazzalu, originally, Arabic-wise, it is tatanazzalu. But the double ta, because it is heavy, so usually in Arabic when there is double ta, it narrows down to one ta, which is why it says tanazzalu. Tanazzalu means that it is descending. It's a present verb, descending. The malaika are descending. The angels of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are descending. Allah said, تَنَزَّلُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ. In the Arabic language, when I have a plural word, like al-malaika, for example, in our example, malaika. When I have a plural word that is preceded by alif lam, al, this al, if it's preceded by al, a plural word preceded by al means generalization. It means everything that falls under this term. I'll give you an example. If someone said, akrim al-ulama, so reward the scholars. Here, ulama is a plural word. Before it is al, it means that I am asking you to reward all of the scholars, no exceptions. So, if a plural word is preceded by al in the Arabic language, it means generalization. In our context, al-malaika, malaika plural word, preceded by al, it means generalizations. It means all of the angels of Allah descend on earth in this night. So this is one thing to keep in mind. تنزل الملائكة والروح. الروح شنو? What does الروح here mean? There are differences of opinion because linguistically الروح we can't really, there isn't a specific meaning that we refer to. Usually we would think الروح is the soul that the human has, but of course this is not the ruh that is meant here. So something in the name of ruh also descends. Now what is this thing? We have to refer to the narrations and what the mufassirin say. But we said, firstly, we just want to go over the verse linguistically. So let's keep ruh as it is for now. So all of the angels descend, and the ruh, which is something. بِإِذْنِ رَبِّهِمْ, through the order, or through the permission of their Lord. بِإِذْنِ رَبِّهِمْ, through the permission of their Lord. مِنْ كُلِّ أَمْرٍ. Now this مِنْ كُلِّ أَمْرٍ could refer to two things. It either means that they descend, so the word amr, min kulli amr, it translates to literally matter, every matter. The question is about min. The word min, kulli amr is every matter. The word min here, it could refer and mean with. So they descend in this evening, تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها, and this evening, the evening of Qadr, with every matter. With every matter means every matter that has already been measured, has already been decided upon. This is one opinion with what min could mean. Another opinion, min here means it gives us the reason behind their descending. So it would mean the angels and the ruh descend in this evening for the sake of measuring every amr. And this second meaning goes hand in hand with the idea that this is a night of dua and a night where our destiny and our measurements are set. For many of the narrations would say that this is a night where our measurements are set. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala set our measurements and options in life in this night. So the second meaning of min goes more hand in hand with this idea, because the angels descend for the sake of measuring all of the matters. Not that they descend with all the matters already set, because if they descend with all the matters already set, then what will our dua do in the first place? Nothing. It won't add anything if it's already set. But if they descend for the sake of measuring every matter and setting every matter, then it makes more sense for us to perform dua, for us to ask Allah for certain things, in the hope that it is part of the things that are said in this night. And the idea of angels descending and ascending is a Quranic idea. For we have verses that say that angels descend, like this verse, and we have verses that say that the angels and the ruh ascend. تعرج الملائكة والروح إليه في يوم كان مقداره 50,000 سنة. So the angels and the ruh ascend to him in a day that is equivalent to 50,000 years. Now, what day is that? That's a different. That's not Laylat al-Qadr. But the idea of angels descending and ascending is a common thing. So linguistically, this is what the verse means. It is a night where angels descend for the sake of setting all of the matters. Now, what does this mean? How do our narrations describe it? How do our mufassirin describe it? And what meanings can we get out of this verse from this basic linguistic understanding? There are a few things that we need to understand to be able to further understand this verse. Yes, I know it is a matter of ghaib. It is a matter of the world of unseen. And matters when it comes to the world of unseen sometimes are not easy to, let's say, comprehend. But of course, the only way for me to draw a conclusion when it comes to the world of the unseen is through Quran and narrations. For the source of the unseen is the only way for me to know more about the unseen. And I know that this world is directly in contact with the world of the unseen. It is not like they are two separate worlds where there is no contact between them. And the world of the unseen is part of my daily life. If I don't believe in the unseen and that there is a contact between this life and the unseen, then dua has no meaning. Then asking Allah has no meaning. All of those things have no meaning. The idea of this action has barakah into it. What does barakah mean? What does tawfiq mean? So many words we use in our daily life refer to something in the world of the unseen. So we are directly in relation to the world of the unseen. So it is important, my dear brothers and sisters, to further understand this world of the unseen through the right source, not through a source where someone makes up things. Through the right source. The right source is to refer to Quran to understand this world and to refer to narrations that explain to me this world. Now, when we look at the Quran, we see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wouldn't send the greatest of angels for, let's say, mundane things. It is usually only in important incidents where Allah would send the greatest of angels. And we know that the greatest angel is the angel of Jibreel alayhi salam. Jibreel alayhi salam, he would descend only in major events. But we saw that the verse said all of the angels. So Jibreel, Mikael, all of those angels would descend in this night. And oftentimes when Jibreel would descend, he would descend for the sake of a person. When we see the stories, he would descend for a prophet, to give him revelation, so usually in major events. For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the way He runs things in this world, often it is through angels. But we see that there are different layers of angels. Jibreel is a high status. He wouldn't descend except if it's a major matter. Revelation of Quran, Jibreel. The beginning of the message, Jibreel. So major incidents, we see Jibreel descending. Other incidents, there are other malaika that perform such things. Jibreel wouldn't descend unless it is a major event. So Jibreel descending in this night gives a big weight for this night. This night has a major event. You need to try and realize that. Furthermore, this ruh, because we said angels and ruh. This ruh, what does it refer to? There are three opinions when it comes to the mufassirin. The first opinion says that ar-ruh here is Jibreel himself. And the reason why it says all of the angels and ar-ruh, it is to emphasize the greatness of Jibreel, that Allah has mentioned him individually. So there is this opinion. Another opinion of ar-ruh, it is something that only belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that we don't know, something in relation to Allah. يسألونك عن الروح قل هي من أمر ربي. It is a matter of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I don't know. Another opinion says, yes, we don't know the nature of this ruh. But this ruh surely is an angel, is something different to the angels. For it is always al-malaika wa ruh. The reason that ruh is mentioned individually is because it is a separate entity. And we have verses that show the ruh descending upon a certain individual. We will go through some of them. And we have a narration that says that this ruh is a great creation of Allah. This ruh in this verse is a great creation of Allah. It is greater than Jibreel, who is the greatest angel. This ruh is greater than Jibreel. What it is, we don't know. Min amri Rabbi. It is part of Allah's matters. We don't know what it is. But it is a creation greater than Jibreel. This is a third opinion. Now, whether we go with the first opinion or the third opinion, whether it is Jibreel himself or it is a creation greater than Jibreel, let us look at the Quranic verses in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refers to the ruh when the ruh descends, to see what kind of events the ruh descends upon, to be able to understand this night further. Let us look at some of the verses. For example, we have a verse, ينزل الملائكة بالروح من أمره على من يشاء من عباده. Allah would descend the angels and the ruh upon certain slaves of his, certain servants or slaves of his, and he is the one who chooses who they are. So it is showing us that when the ruh descends, it is descending upon someone who Allah chooses. This is one verse. Another verse, نزل به روح الأمين. نزل بالنبي الروح الأمين. So a ruh descending again upon an individual. So we see in multiple verses, and if you go to tonight and search the word ruh in Quran, you will see every time that the word ruh descending is mentioned, it is always mentioned that the ruh descending upon a certain individual. Either the individual is mentioned, like Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or the verse would say an individual who Allah chooses to. So the ruh wouldn't descend for a general matter. It is always descending for a specific person. When Allah says ar-ruh is descending, it is descending for a specific person. So now we mentioned Jibreel wouldn't descend for a general matter. He would descend for a great matter, like revelation of Quran, like the beginning of Risala, so on and so forth. Ar-ruh wouldn't descend except upon a person. It wouldn't descend upon general matters. Now let's try to delve further into this verse. Let's look at what Imam Al-Baqir alayhi salam, Imam Al-Sadiq afwan alayhi salam, mentioned about the idea of descending of the angels. Imam Al-Sadiq alayhi salam says, تنزل فيها الملائكة والكتبة إلى السماء الدنيا. The angels and those who write the measures, the matters, they descend to the sky of this world. فيكتبون ما يكون في السنة من أمره. They would write what occurs in this year, in the upcoming year, from the matter of Allah. وما يصيب العباد, and what happens to the servants of Allah. والأمر عنده موقوف له فيه المشيئة. And the matter goes back to him, and he is the one who decides what occurs and what doesn't occur. فيقدم ما يشاء. He does what he wants. He writes what he wants. ويؤخر ما يشاء. He delays. He brings forward what he wants, and he delays what he wants. ويثبت. And he puts forward. He he puts forward what he wants. وعنده أم الكتاب. So he is describing one of the actions that happen in this evening. The angels descend to the sky of this world, and they would be writing down the matters that occur for the upcoming year, and Allah decides for those matters, for what happens, for what comes forward, for what delays, so on and so forth. Those matters, now we think of them as a general term, but they include everything. They include my sustenance, they include my opportunities in this year, they include my rizq, they include how religious I will, the opportunities that will make me religious. They will include not only my own matters, the matters of my family, the matters of my community, the matters of even the inanimate things, everything. The word amr in Arabic, which we usually translate as matter, amr is the most general word in the Arabic language. Anything falls under amr. Usually we would think as the word shay to be the most general. Shay means something. Something, everything is something. I am something, this is something, the bottle is something, everything is something. The word amr is even more general than shay. So it would be broader than shay. So everything in this universe falls under amr. And it is part of Allah's amr, Allah's matter. So in this night, all of this is set. Now, one final question in regards to this verse. I know maybe we've gone too much, maybe it has been not the easiest, let's say, discussion around there. The final question, which is the core of the matter. When we say the angels descend, especially angels like Jibreel and the Ruh, and we mentioned usually and often such angels descend upon an individual. The question here is, who is this individual that the angels, especially the great angels, and the Ruh descends upon in this night for the sake of the measures to be set? Who is this individual? This is a question to be asked. When we look at some of the mufassirin from other schools of thought, they would say that they would descend to this world generally and would be writing things, not to a specific individual. But this goes against the nature of Quran and the nature of the status of Jibreel and the status of Ar-Ruh. This is against their status. Even our narrations would indicate that. Imam al-Baqir in one of the narrations would say, it is bigger, Jibreel is bigger than descending upon regular individuals like us. He is bigger than that. Jibreel is not to descend upon such individuals. In the time of the Prophet, there is no one argues that the angels, especially the great ones, and Ar-Ruh used to descend upon Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. No one argues with that. The argument is, who do they descend upon after Rasulullah? Because they used to descend to Rasulullah for the sake of setting the matters of the upcoming year. Sometimes you think of the role of Rasulullah just as a role of guidance. This is part of his role. But not only that, he is the representative of Allah on earth. Rasulullah is the representative of Allah on earth, Khalifatuhu fil ard. So he has so many other roles than just guidance. And amongst those roles is on this evening. His role is to set the matters of the ibad. All of the actions, every amr, every matter is presented to him. Every single detail. He is aware of it. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So now after Rasulullah, which individual does the angels and the Ruh descend upon to present him with the matters, for the matters to be decided? For us, I think many of you can guess who this individual is. Because for us it is clear. We have successors to Rasulullah. We have people who continued the message of Rasulullah. Rasulullah has told us to follow them. From this angle, this is enough of a reason for us to know who this individual is. Who this individual, who all the matters, who the angels descend upon him to present him with all the matters for the matters to be decided. We can already guess, but let us look at narrations just to be sure. Because narrations, as we said, things that are in the world of the unseen, we refer to the narrations and the Quran. We can't come up to our conclusions by ourselves. We already can come right now to a conclusion, but to set that conclusion and know who this individual is. Amir al-Mu'mineen, alayhi salam, he would tell Ibn Abbas in one of the narrations. Ibn Abbas, he was a student of Amir al-Mu'mineen. He would study many things under Amir al-Mu'mineen. Amir al-Mu'mineen would talk to Ibn Abbas and tell him, Inna Laylat al-Qadr fi kulli sanatin. So Laylat al-Qadr is an event that occurs every year. It is not a one-time event. Some events happen one time. Some events occur every year. Laylat al-Qadr is amongst the events that occur every year. Inna Laylat al-Qadr fi kulli sanatin. وَإِنَّهُ يَنْزِلُ فِي تِلْكَ اللَّيْلَ أَمْرُ السَّنَةِ. And in this night, every year, the matter, the amr of that year descends in that day or in that night. And as we saw in the Quranic verse, تَنَزَّلُ, present verb, not أَنزَلْنَاهُ. Quran أَنزَلْنَاهُ, past verb. We've descended the Quran. But the angels descends, present verb. So it's a continuous thing. Every Laylat Qadr, the angels descend. Amir al-Mu'mineen then says, وَإِنَّهُ يَنْزِلُ فِي تِلْكَ اللَّيْلَ أَمْرُ السَّنَةِ وَلِذَلِكَ الْأَمْرُ وُلَاةٌ بَعْدَ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَآلِهِ. And for this matter, for this specific role, which is the role of receiving the angels, receiving all of the matters, for the matters to be set, receiving the reports, if you like to say. There are individuals to take this role. He would say there are individuals who take this role after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ibn Abbas would ask Amir al-Mu'mineen. He would tell him, who are those individuals? Amir al-Mu'mineen would say, Ana, myself, wa ahada ashara min sulbi, and 11 individuals who will come from my descendants. A'immatun muhaddithun. So, a'imma who are told what to do and what not to do. They are muhaddithun. So Amir al-Mu'mineen has made it very clear. After Rasulullah, it is myself who receive the angels and 11 from my descendants. Now I ask you, who's the 11th from the descendants? It is our beloved Imam al-Hujjah ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif. I think this deserves a salawat. So in this night, our Imam, not only we remember him in our dua. In fact, every matter about us, about this universe, is presented to our Imam, and one of his roles is to set the matters in regards to the upcoming year. So the Imam is aware of us, and aware of our actions, and aware of our intentions, and aware of what we want and what we don't want. So let this night be a night of reflection, and let the report that reaches the Imam be a report that makes him happy. And this goes hand in hand to the letter that the Imam wrote, Imam al-Mahdi ajjallahu ta'ala farajah, wrote to one of his companions. He would tell him in this letter along the lines that we are aware of the situations that you will fall under, and we take care of you. Don't think of the Imam as someone who is unseen and he's unaware of everything going on. He's not only aware of everything going on, he's aware of every little detail that happens in my personal life and in the general matters. He's aware and he's taking care of us. All he asks from us is to be loyal. The Imam, all they wanted from their companions is to be loyal. How can I be loyal? Do what Allah wants me to do and stay away from what Allah wants me to stay away from. So in tonight when we perform dua, let us try and perform dua with the hope that the report that the Imam reads is a report that makes him happy. So when he sets the matter for me in the upcoming year, it is setting something that makes him happy, that makes him proud of me as an individual, as a follower of that Imam. And finally, I ask you a question. If all of this, what I mentioned today, you find it difficult to comprehend, why do we call the Imam Sahib al-Amr? In Dua al-Iftitah, we read, Allahumma salli ala wali amrika. What does wali al-Amr mean? Salli ala wali amrika al-Qa'im al-Mu'ammal. Shinu wali amrika? What does wali amrika mean? Wali, the guardian or the one who's in charge of amrika, of your matter. What does it really mean? In this night, it is clear what this means from this verse that we began the night with. The angels descend and the ruh in this night with the permission of Allah for the sake of every matter to be said, to be measured in this night. So let us think of our Imam. He's aware of everything. He's aware of all of our report in this night. So let us make him proud of this report. Let us begin the night with repentance and remembering Allah and trying to make that report a good report where the Imam, when he sees it, he's proud of it. And he sets for me a report that will make him proud for the upcoming year. For he is doing so by the permission of Allah. If you come and tell me this is shirk, he's doing it by the permission of Allah, bi-idhni rabbih, through the permission of Allah. He is doing all of that. So let us think of the Imam in this way. This is a great night. With that, inshallah, I ask you all to remember all of your brothers in here with your du'as. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Muhammad.